The biggest mistake I see when developers applying for jobs is applying for too many jobs. For aspiring developers, you need to create and develop your experience. Like, ain't nobody gonna hire you with that experience. This is just the truth.
Taking care of my health in general too, like what I eat and what I do with my body, basically. Those were
Yes,
huge.
because body built our careers. So if you don't take care of your body, if you don't take care of your mental health, if you don't take care of your development, then you're not going to be as successful at your career, no matter how much Swift UI, Swift, or other programming skills you have.
Hey there. In this episode, we're covering improving your career as an iOS developer, things that developers get wrong while applying for jobs, and how to be the best developer and version of yourself. The guest for today's episode is Eugene Berezin, an iOS developer and career coach. And if you've been enjoying episodes of the iOS Dev Podcast, please let me know in the comment section down below and let me know what would you like to see in the future. Enjoy. What's the biggest mistake you see developers making when applying to jobs?
The biggest mistake I see when developers applying for jobs is applying for too many jobs. What I mean by that is normally when you're just focusing on applying for jobs, you're not going to have a great result because the market is oversaturated. Like, there are literally like hundreds of developers just like you are applying for tons of jobs. And if you're lucky, if you're on top of that pile, you will get a callback. Or if you are on top of that file and you are qualified, you're going to get a callback. What I would recommend instead: strategic networking and content marketing. Content marketing your skills, making your network aware of you.
That's probably some advice I should have learned when I was applying, because my approach was like a volume. Like, I was just applying like crazy to a bunch. I mean, it worked eventually, right? But
Eventually it works. Also, when I started in tech, that was my tactic, applying for a bunch of jobs. But also, before 2023, late 2020 to 2023, we had like a huge demand on software developers, and money was free, and the market was a totally different market. So everybody was waiting for you to apply. Even then, like, the craziest thing, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, right, there's only one job I got from direct applying. All of the other jobs, either recruiter found me because I was active, or because I somehow connected with them, or through the referral, never from direct application.
so with that, you think it's super valuable then to kind of let yourself be known in the community, that you're
Yes, it is.
like showcase your skills in a way.
Yes, it is super valuable to be active in the community, and it is super valuable to showcase who you are, not just your skills. Because, like, listen, your coding video is boring. Like, I need to know who you are. Like, I'm tired of your fancy animation. Okay, I need to know who you actually are, Ian, because like, that was my Like, it wasn't even strategy, because I would do coding videos, I would do like free tutorials on YouTube, but also I would talk about careers, I would talk about market, I would talk about soft skills, and or even just go over like certain hard interview questions on my YouTube channel. And this combination allows my audience to get to know me, and recruiters, when they watch my videos, like, it allows them to get to know me and have that know, like, and trust factor. So it's easier for them to connect with me.
Yeah. What would you recommend for developers to start doing that? Like, where do you think they should start?
They should start. They should start, because
Yeah.
here's the thing. In my program, right, I work with developers, and I lay out the whole system, how it's done correctly. But the problem is nobody gets it at the get-go. Like, when you start putting yourself out there, uh you're not gonna get it right. I didn't get it right. But consistency, right, and constantly being in the community, constantly showing up, constantly being in conversations on platforms such LinkedIn. I don't know why not. Well, I don't know why not all software developers utilizing LinkedIn heavily, because this is where it's at. Like, this is where I get clients. This is where I get jobs. This is where I get meaningful connection. Because like people say I got a job on Twitter, good for them. It was not my experience. But it's what you just have to start, and then like your process will guide you like to the right direction.
Yeah, that's true. Because then sometimes it can lead to overthinking, and then you'll never get started, right? When you start overthinking.
Right. Yes,
Yep.
yes. Like analysis paralysis is real, because like if you look at my, let's say my earlier videos, they're like they're not as good. Well, the quality of the context is good, but the quality of the content itself, it's probably not that good. I don't have the fancy background. I don't have the fancy mic, and my background is probably not the cleanest room, not the cleanest background. Like I probably have something that look like a bathroom in my background, but those things like you polish as you evolve, right? And like I'm okay with you posting video like with your bathroom in the background if you talk about your craft, if you provide good context, and then you just evolve. Like people will let you know about the little
Yeah.
things like that, and then it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, for sure. And the one thing I would add is think about what kind of naturally suits you. Like if you are very camera shy, or like if you're fear of talking to the mic, then you can still try, but there's also like writing, right? Like you could do blogs. You don't have to stick to one or you don't, not that you don't have to stick to it, but you don't have to go one route, right? Like you don't have to just do YouTube or just do Twitter or just do LinkedIn.
Yeah, like this is true. Like I always advise software developers, your LinkedIn is your main platform, and then you derive like to LinkedIn and YouTube, Twitter, or LinkedIn and like other platform where you can network with other developers. Where, like for example, for me, YouTube. I'm not a huge YouTuber by YouTube metrics, but YouTube is my video hub that I can utilize and navigate people to the right content when I need to. So, in LinkedIn is just like my all in all when I make meaningful connection, and Twitter is more so like to pick up other software developers, other professionals, other connections who are not as active on LinkedIn.
Yeah. What about for like aspiring developers who don't know as much, right? But they're learning and trying to become a developer?
So for aspiring developers, like the same, like for aspiring developers, you need to create and develop your experience. Like ain't nobody gonna hire you with that experience. This is just the truth. So is it possible to get a job without experience? No, unless you create experience. This is why networking is important. This is why asking people if they need their services even for free, like like it's really important to be really transparent about it, like not just like, hey, like do you need a web developer, like hey bro, I need a job, I just graduated from a boot camp, can I build a website for you absolutely for free and you can be my reference? Like here we go, people understand why you asking them if they need a website. Because if you just approach somebody like, do you need a website, like no, I don't need a freaking website. Like, oh, like you need a job and you need my help to like be your reference, and you can deliver me a website that I maybe don't need that much, but like yeah, sure, I can help you. So this is really important to deliver your intentionality, why you're asking people if they need your help.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Like, even though I feel like some people sometimes they say don't do anything for free, but doing that, especially when you're aspiring, because that's like the hardest one, right? Like getting the first one is like the biggest obstacle because you're basically breaking into
Yeah,
the industry.
yeah, and this is not for free, because if you are playing a long game. right? Like you deliver your first product for free, quote unquote. But this is
Mhm.
free product will lead you to a six-figure job or at least close to it. So this is not for
Mhm.
free. For free, it's when you keep delivering websites and products and you put in really hard work, but you don't see anything at the end. You don't leverage it. But if that experience and if that connection and if that reference leads you to better opportunities, then like this is not free.
Yeah, totally. Do you know like the status of the job market? How would you say it's changed in the last couple months?
So statistically, September is a month where everybody is waking up, everybody is coming back from vacation, companies know their budget. So normally normally we see a lot more hiring in September, October. So I see that market is warming up. I see that
Mm.
market is warming up. I'm one of my mentees that is not super like out there in the networking side. Um, they got a couple of calls for recruiters, which is like really rare and hard to come by because like market again, like there's more competition.
Mhm.
But this is like that signals me that market is warming up, especially in iOS sector, especially in mobile sector.
Yeah. Yeah, because how has it been the past year? Is it it's probably
So
it
the
went down
past,
a lot, right? Especially since like the boom in like the 2021, 22 around there.
like it's well, yes, like it. I am a bad indicator because
Mhm.
the market went down, right? But also I wasn't looking, and I also was starting to figure out how to run my own business, and I was strategically networking and strategically positioning myself on LinkedIn as such. So if I were a recruiter and I saw my profile, I I don't know if I would reach out to me. I probably would. I probably would. But also, as a recruiter, like I want to know for sure if it is a go or no go for me. And I definitely see more recruiters reaching out to me now, even though like if you look at my profile, I'm not indicating that I'm just a senior iOS developer looking for a job. I'm not looking for a job, but I still see those connections. I see those requests, but
Mm.
in the past year, it slowed down quite a bit. And like if I were more active, if I were more oriented towards that, I think I
Mm.
would have still gotten a little bit better results. But because I wasn't actively looking for anything, I wasn't actively marketing myself as an iOS developer. And that hey, I'm open and ready. That's why I didn't see the momentum going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally different when you're doing that, right? Because then that's when you really tap into your network.
Hmm. Yeah, and like here's the thing: when I started pivoting from QA to iOS development, uh, I would be in my network talking about iOS, talking about different things every single day. And that was a very clear indicator for my network. Hey, that guy is looking right now, or hey, that guy is, you probably have to reach out to that guy. But versus either me going through my personal things, me going through the pivot to the business and entrepreneurial world, and not being as active on that side of the spectrum, um, it's a signal for my network. Probably Eugene is not looking right now,
Yeah.
or like only my deep network connections would reach out to me time to time, like, "Hey, Eugene, I see what you're doing. I have a hot
Mm.
project right now. Would you be interested?" No, okay, I will check back later.
Mhm. And what kind of QA were you?
I was iOS QA actually at some point. So I started as a manual QA, and then
As a what
I
QA, sorry?
as a manual QA.
Manual QA. Wait, what's that? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, so like a manual QA is a QA engineer who will go and check work of other developers manually as a user. Pretend to be a user and do what
Mhm.
users
Mhm.
do or some more. But this is kind of like was the beginning, and then I start doing test automation with Selenium, with Postman, and then I accidentally um, uh, found a job as a mobile tester with iOS, and it was a lot more technical. And
Mhm.
at some point, I was doing really complex test automation with XUI tests, and I created a bunch of content about it. And then, like jumped to iOS development because it was like really right there for me.
Yeah. Then wait, what? Around what time was this? What year?
Uh, it was I think it was around it was around 2018,
Mhm.
2017, 2018, like around that time.
Also, it was like mostly UIKit then, and probably some Objective C then.
Mostly UIKit. I work with Objective C um very sparingly. So, but like
Thankfully.
I was like, well, it's funny because I work with Objective C at T-Mobile a little bit, but like the framework that I was working on, right? It was Swift, but the main app was an Objective C. So whenever I saw bugs in like the main app, and I would try to fix them, I would put my PR in Objective C, but with a huge warning, hey, like help me to address feedback. If you have any feedback, you better not have any feedback. So that was hilarious.
Yeah. What originally got you into QA engineering?
um I was looking for ways to improve my income.
Mm.
So I was in behavioral health world. I'm a clinical psychologist by trade, and behavioral health services, unfortunately, are not as appreciated in the US or really anywhere. And I was looking for other opportunities. And one of the venues that I saw like was like nursing or psychiatric nursing or going to medical school, or another venue would be tech and QA. And at that time, I thought it was the easiest way, or was the easiest path forward. So I took QA path.
Dang. Wait, dang. So did you was it self-taught? Did you go through a boot camp or how did you go about it?
Yeah, I went through a boot camp, but like I went through a boot camp. It was online, and I got a job literally after 3 months being in the boot camp. I didn't really finish boot camp. I just, after they kind of explained to us how to, um, network, how to apply for jobs,
Yeah.
because I was applying for jobs even before. Just with like it was by fake name and fake resume, just I wanted to test it out, my knowledge. I knew nothing. I said that I was building website with SQL. So that was funny. But when I figure out what I need to say, like to recruiters, what like how to pass technical interviews, I was able to get a job pretty fast.
Yeah. Dang. Then that's crazy. That's crazy you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Well, what advice would you have for a junior developer who feels stuck in his current role?
So if you're stuck in your current role, well, first of all, like, what does it even mean to be stuck in your current role? Because your current role is more about learning as much as you possibly can. You can be in a situation where you are in a toxic environment, and this is a learning opportunity. You are learning what you don't want, what you don't like. But the advice is the same. So, like, if it is your first role, right? Make sure that you have like previous projects that you worked on and you built your that cushion experience, so when you need to pivot and when you need to go and look for another job, so you have your kind of like safety net. But always network, because this is the thing what I see a lot of professionals do. They land a job and they get comfortable. Never get comfortable, because as soon as you get comfortable, um, market is unpredictable, right? You never know what is going to happen. You never know when you need to tap into your network. Keep networking, keep putting yourself out there, keep providing value. You don't have to do all of the things as intensely as you were doing before, but make sure that you're on top of mind, because as soon as you're out of sight, you're out of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I feel like everyone, well, not everyone, but you usually forget, right? Because you're at the job, and I mean, it's like steady income, like stable usually, unless you're at like a startup or something like that.
Yeah, and like this is important. This is important to have business of one mindset, because when you have employee mindset, you expect somebody to do something for you, but the reality is nobody is going to do anything for you. Nobody cares about you. Companies don't care about you. You're a business of one. When you're a business of one and you're a solution provider and service provider, then you realize that you need to market yourself. You need to put yourself out there. You need to make sure that you deliver. You need to make sure that your business interests, aka professional interests,
Mhm.
align with your company. And if they're not aligned, then you need to look for another client, another
Yeah.
employment, whether it is client or employment. Like it really doesn't matter. But when you have that mindset, then like you can get comfortable, because imagine Apple would just stop producing content, stop producing marketing. And well, it probably will take a while, but they will see a slowdown. Or like any other company, right? Imagine you don't see like Geico, for example, insurance. If you stop seeing their commercials like day in and day out, you're probably gonna start slowly forgetting about Geico. The same goes for you. You should keep marketing yourself the way you
Yeah.
market yourself always.
Yeah. And have you always had that mindset of like the business of one?
Uh, it came later. Uh, it came later. It came probably when I start switching my specialty, and I was listening to right people in like in the career development space, and that really helped me to be on top of mind, because like I stopped expecting employers to give me something. I realized that hey, if I want something, I need to go and get it, because ain't
Mhm.
nobody gonna give it to me. Like I
Mhm.
just need to go and get it, find the right employer, or find the right opportunity, or find the right network.
Yeah, I didn't initially start with it, not as a developer, but as a like in my career, like my at my first job, it was like in accounting or something like that. And I remember I kind of learned that lesson when like they got rid of the whole upper management and like they just replaced them. And it was out the blue, like nobody knew, but it was like the owner wanted to make some changes, and then they basically got rid of everybody. And from there, I was like, oh wow, you really are
Yeah,
replaceable
and
in a way.
like this is just the reality, because when you expect something from your employer, you are like you're about to be disappointed, because like nobody is going to give you anything. But when you're pursuing, and when you are taking action, and you are taking space, you are taking up the room, and you are taking sit at the table, then you see some results, because like this is just how a cookie crumbles. This is how business world operates, because companies, right? They're businesses, and they're businesses first. And then they figure out how to attract the right people, how to attract the right marketing, how to attract and how to get what they want. And if you're operating at the same with the same mindset, then like first of all, you're not going to be as disappointed. And it's a different way of thinking. It's like how do I get versus who is going to give it to me.
Hmm. Yeah. So I was checking out your LinkedIn and I saw you recently were talking about the remote or in office or hybrid environment. Which one do you prefer and what are your thoughts on it?
I prefer remote, because I've been remote since March 2020, like everybody else. I was working remotely before here and there, and I find myself more productive remotely. My life is organized around my remote work, and if I were to go to the office, I would be extremely unproductive, and I don't think I would be happy, like, or satisfied. I don't mind going to in-person events. I don't mind going to, let's say, to the office once a quarter when we have like face-to-face event where we have planning. It's fun, and I like to travel, so I will travel, but not every day because your commute like takes a bunch of time. uh, and then at work, like, if somebody works in the office, so picture this: you come to the office, right? I normally would come to the office around like 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning because I wanted to get out really early so I don't have to be stuck in traffic. But uh, people start coming in. So what do you need to do first? Grab coffee. You go grab coffee. You see somebody. You start chatting with them. So it's about like good 20, 30, 45 minutes in. Then you go and you lazily check your emails, like a calendar for the day, like figure out what you want to do, and hopefully you will get some work in. So then what next? Then next is stand up. So you go to the stand up, and after stand up, so you feel already tired. So you're probably gonna grab your work buddy and you're gonna grab another cup of coffee, or you're gonna go to a cafeteria or like whatever, go for a little walk. So it's another 20 to 45 minutes out of your day. Then you have a little bit of time to work on your feature, and then you have a meeting. So, and after meeting, and well, and let's not forget bathroom breaks, right? Because I don't know about everybody else, but I need to go to the bathroom more times when I work in the office just because I want to see what's going on. So, and here we go. It is like 3 or 4 o'clock, right? PM. So I need to go home. So my feature is like not even halfway done. I close my laptop and I go home. So that's why I come to the office at 7 o'clock so I can get my work done and kind of finish little things like in between because I can't work in that environment. I'm constantly distracted, and of course, people talk to me. I will talk to people. So versus at home, I have my focus time. I can start like when I need to. I can finish when I need to. I can like work at my own hours. Like this is just more suited like how my brain operates.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Remote is pretty much the way to go. Although I see the
Hmm.
value of in person for like a startup. Like if it's like a small team and you're building something, I think there's some value in that. But in my experience, yeah, definitely remote. Because at my last job, it started off as hybrid, and they slowly were making us like full time in office, and that was kind of challenging because it was for me it was a 1 hour commute to it and then 1 hour back, and that's I mean I would try to listen to audiobooks, but it was still rough.
And this is why I started my business because, like, listen, I don't know where the remote work is going because remote jobs will be there, right? They're kind of like hard to come by right now, but also like kind of like business of one mindset. Like, so I want to work remote. So what do? I look for companies who are hiring remote, but also I provide high quality value services that I can deliver from my home on my time, on my terms. So that's kind of what inspired me, like, to start my entrepreneurial journey as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, that because that's kind of the cool part about it. Like when you do that, because you're able to like move freely. Like you don't have anybody telling you, oh, you have to be here at this time and you have to check out at this time.
Yes, yes. Like I always tell my friends this little story. Like last month, I got laid off from my startup. So, but fortunately, I had my business, and fortunately, I had really strong network that was able to like cooperate and literally land me a job within a week. But like when you start a new job, so it takes time. So like about a month, here and there, like kind of tidying out loose ends. I was moving. I was right in the middle of my move from Chicago to back to Seattle, but also I had my business. I had my clients. So I had steady income, like pretty much very, very close to what I would make at my corporate job as I got laid off, as I got severance package. So I wouldn't worry. And the schedule that I got, it was absolutely amazing. Like I would start my day when it fits me. Like I would start with workout or meditation or prayer in the morning. And I start my day really, really early. Then like I would work out, then I would actually work on my business, go live, or like work LinkedIn because you have to work on LinkedIn actively. And then I would have, like a couple of coaching clients. And what do you know? Like it's 4 or 5 or 3, and my day is over. I have nothing else to do. So I go to the
Yeah.
beach, and it's summer. Beautiful.
Yeah. Damn. What's your morning routine?
So my morning routine, the first thing that I do is like I would just get myself grounded. I would pray, I meditate, I start my day with gratitude. I have to remind myself every single morning what I'm grateful for. And then I would just like and would really get myself grounded. And after that, I will go to the gym, I will go work out, or if it is my rest day, I will go for a walk or for a run. And then after that, I would start my work day.
That's that's funny because mine is very similar. Mine is very similar. Like I wake up and then I meditate for like 15 minutes and then I go walk my dog and then I pretty much go hit the gym. And that's usually like on the weekday.
Nice.
Something else from LinkedIn that I really like that you mentioned was don't focus on doing more, focus on what has the highest impact.
Hmm.
So how do you go about that? Because that's like a skill, or I've said that before. Like that's like a skill or something you kind of develop, but it's very
Hmm.
hard to actually find what is the thing that'll have the most impact, right?
Yes, this is right. And it's funny that you ask me that because we as software developers, we often focus on technical skills. And technical skills will get us a job, first job, second job, and it will get us maybe to mid-level level, right? But move forward past that. You need to be able to know and you need to be able to think and know how to think. And this is what I teach my clients how to think. So you need to have really good perspective on where your company, your business operates at. You need to see the priorities, and also in order to make more impact, you need to network within your company. So you can't just go to your job, do your job, and go home. I mean, you can, but it's important to get to know people. It's important to know your decision makers and network with the decision makers, and then ask them the right questions. And when you ask them the right questions and you offer them to serve at your best abilities, then you have a better chance to be placed on the projects that have bigger impact. And like it takes time, it takes courage, but listen, your executives, they're just humans just like you and I, and not everybody does it. So like you just have to put yourself out there, you just have to speak up, and you have to listen, because as a software developers, often on during meetings, what do? We code, right? We don't really listen in. We listen in, but we don't listen in. But I would challenge that, and I would encourage you to actually listen to the conversation and actually speak up and actually pick up on the priorities, and then work your way up to actually work on those priorities.
Basically, putting yourself in a position to actually have an impact, right?
Yeah, you like it's like business of one mindset. Like you want to make impact, you have to go and get it.
Yeah. And what about for outside of development? Because that's also important in life, right? Like figuring out what's the most impactful thing to do and not just doing more of it.
Yeah, like in life, it's really important to listen to your intuition. And I think self development is really, really important. And I spend on self development a lot of money. And it's funny because when you invest in your self development, then you start develop skills that you didn't have before, like good communication skills, good marketing skills, good analytical skills. And then those skills that you develop outside of tech and invest in yourself like crazy, those skills will actually pull you up in your corporate career.
Yeah. That's true. Very true. What inspired you to be a career coach, by the way?
So that's a really good question. When I was figuring out as a business of one, right? If I were to run my business by myself, what is my zone of genius? And my zone of genius is to help people to market themselves, uh, get clarity, and really get in front of as many people as possible. Like that's just my zone of genius. And also, how do I package it? And there are different ways to package it. Like I could go to like business development route, which I probably gonna go at some point. I could go career development route. So I need a label, right? Because like when you go to your market and you need to speak the language that market understands. If I go to software developers and say like, hey, like I have amazing marketing platform and amazing marketing program for you, you need to market yourself. Like people like, I need to what? Like I like as a freelancer, I'm not freelancer, so people wouldn't understand it, but people understand more or less what career coaching is. So this is why I wrap it as a career coaching, and which is like it's not just resume, it's not just LinkedIn, and it's like putting yourself together as an expert overall and really really positioning yourself for your network as an expert. You don't have to know it all, because like being an expert is how other people see you, not how you see yourself.
Yeah.
So this is what I do with software developers. I help them to position themselves as experts in the industry, and nobody like I promise you, like probably 90% of software developers don't do that. And when you are on top of your industry, doing something that nobody does in a way that nobody does, then people perceive you, people see you as an expert. So this is how I come out with like my career coaching. And I purposely didn't want to go route where I just do resume and LinkedIn because it's boring. It's elementary. Like you ChatGPT can do better job probably than some of the career coaching coaches. Like I'm serious. So this is why I wanted to go deeper and I wanted to go bigger because literally after this program, like you can go and turn it around into like your corporate job or into your apply it to your freelance gig or like figure out how you can utilize those skills in your business if you choose to.
Yeah, what were your influences in terms of the business of one stuff?
I was mostly followed other uh, other career coaches, more or less, or entrepreneurs. I was always interested how people who run businesses, how they think and how they talk. So that kind of like what inspired me because like oh like they're different. Like they don't even focus on on things like
Yeah.
oh like my resume, which resume and LinkedIn is important. I'm not saying that it's not important. It's hugely important. These are must haves, but they go higher, and that what inspired me to go higher.
If you were starting today, do you know where you would start? Like if you had to start all over as a developer?
Uh, Good question. Yes, I would start by learning fundamentals and sticking with iOS, and probably start figuring out my niche. Like
Yeah.
what is my niche? And I would like as soon as I would get up to speed with my skill set, I would immediately start networking and ask people like how they can help me so I can help them too, and just really network and create content like crazy. Like
Yeah.
literally go live every day. Literally go live, not even videos, but go live every day because I don't have time to edit my videos and learn code. Like go live, talk about it, code. Go live, talk about it, code. Like this is what I would done.
Well, that's a pretty cool idea. Yeah, like if you're learning just going live, I mean, it'll be you have to be okay with kind of writing not the best code, but that's everybody goes through that, right? Like everybody.
Yeah, everybody. My first PR was terrible, like absolutely terrible. I'm like, I have so many, well, so many comments on my PR, and one of the developers, he would zoom me and say, "Hey, don't take it personally." I'm like, no, I'm not taking it personally. It's just like I just need to figure out how you do. Like, I think my solution is good, and he said, "Yeah, it's good, but it's out of place. Like, nobody does what you do here. So, like, this is not the place to stand out with your architecture." Unless you want to change the architecture, unless you would have responsible for the entire app to do the things that you see. Are you ready for this? Like, no, like, let's just change my solution into how you do things. So, but yeah, it took a few really really crappy PRs to get to the level where I'm good, at least with my team.
Yeah. And you would go with iOS even today?
Yes, I would go with iOS even today. Like, cause look, iOS, right? Like, it is an investment. You have to have MacBook, right? But it's Xcode. Like, and worst case, you need to install Cocoa Pods. But other than that, like, it's all in one package, in one IDE, in one programming language. Like, yes, you probably need to learn SwiftUI and UIKit at the same time, but that's okay because again it's the same language. And talking to some of the newer iOS developers, I hear they actually like UIKit a little bit better than SwiftUI. It's a little bit more clear for them, like, okay, I can do X, Y, and Z, versus in SwiftUI everything is declarative and I don't really understand how to like really attach the button to the lower corner of the screen, versus in UI I can just do constraints. So absolutely iOS.
Yeah. Wait, which do you prefer then, UIKit or SwiftUI?
Swift UI is faster, it's more fun. I like bleeding edge technology, so like
Mm.
API is just better. But I do love UIKit as well, but if I do UIKit, I would prefer do 100% in code, no storyboards, or very limited amount of
Yeah.
storyboards.
Same, to be honest. Yeah, I always did UIKit like all programmatically.
Hmm.
And but yeah, like I have to go with SwiftUI because it's so much faster, as you said. Like thinking about how much I'd have to do in UIKit to build something compared to in SwiftUI, it's like night and day.
Yes, yes, it is, and like this is like I've been working with Swift UI at my previous company for like over a year, and like I had so much fun. Whenever I had to touch UIKit code, that was always like a point of frustration for me. But like UIKit, yeah, UIKit has bugs. UIKit has issues. UIKit is not perfect, but like I think it is good enough to put it in production. And if you do it correctly, if you let the system to work for you, it will work for you. Don't fight the system.
Yeah. And how do you feel about all the AI stuff? Because that was when I asked you about how we was what you would do if you had to start today. That's like the thing that's hot right now, right? Like going into AI and learning machine learning.
Well, like here's the thing. Like AI has a little bit higher barrier to entry, right? With AI, you actually got to be good at mathematics, at
Linear
calculus. You
algebra, yeah.
you gotta have to have those foundations, because Udemy course ain't gonna get you there. Like a bootcamp, AI bootcamp ain't gonna get you there. You have to learn those really hard fundamentals. And also, AI, when it comes to AI, you can be on the side of building AI, building models, and when like I'm not AI developer, but I work with a lot of AI developers, which is like it is exciting, but it's tedious and it's kind of boring and it's pain. It can be a little bit painful too, like because learning the model, getting the data, data mining, and stuff like that. This is like this is hard and tedious work. This is not glamorous, but also like you can be on the AI consumer side because now development becomes more and more easier, and your technical skills will eventually become obsolete, but not your thinking skills, not your critical thinking skills. Because with AI, you have to think critically and you have to understand what prompt to ask, like ChatGPT, let's say. And even if we imagine incorporating AI into iOS development, you need to know how to prompt like a program. Let's say SwiftUI, like SwiftUI is basically recipes for the UI, right? We don't have to do as much work as with UIKit. But let's go one step further, and let's say we just prompt correctly. And in order to prompt correctly, you need to think critically. So I think like it's really your choice. Like you can be on the builder side of the AI or on the consumer side of the AI. And when you're on the consumer side, you really need to focus on critical thinking, knowing your foundation and fundamentals of the actual development, so your prompts are correct.
Yeah, that's very true. Actually, I didn't think about that. Like there are like two main sides. You can really consume an API, especially thanks to OpenAI. Their API is super easy, and you can put that in your iOS application or React or whatever you're building for.
Yeah, and also like we're gonna see more AI. Like we're gonna see more AI. Like I'm not saying that AI will take our jobs, but also AI might actually be a turning point for our industry to rehumanize the tech industry. So at some point you won't be able to escape by just like sitting behind your desk and like just writing code. You would have to be more human. You would have to understand emotional intelligence. You would have to understand how to talk to people, and you would have to understand how to think.
Yeah. But how can people improve that? Like those. Well, I guess those are very different. Right? You mentioned emotional intelligence
Mhm.
and
Uh,
well, I forgot the other words.
Emotional intelligence, how to communicate with each other, and how to think. Uh, and this is where investment in your personal development comes in. So seek personal development either through coaching or through literature, through like other ways you can enrich yourself as a person. Because when I was like at my early stages in my career, I would be following influencers in tech who wouldn't just talk about how to create animation in UIKit. I would follow influencers who would teach me how to think and who would heavily lean on self development. And this is what actually led me to my success, self development, and not necessarily 100% of my technical skills.
Yeah. What's what would have been the most impactful things on your self development journey?
I think at each point of my life, it was different. Um, I think the first impact was a numerous of bloggers in or YouTubers in tech who were talking about self development. My latest impact was there's an author Joe Dispenza, like, and he has a book Becoming Supernatural, like absolutely amazing. That like literally unlock, like he's a scientist and he talks about how you can unlock your mind to like basically create your reality. And it's super woo woo and it's super interesting,
Yeah.
and like I absolutely enjoy that. And various of coaching programs that I personally went through, because like
Mhm.
every program, even though like even let's say and pick a program and it's not 100%, like I didn't get 100% of the results that I expect, I still come out as a better human as I walk into there.
Yeah. Yeah, I like a little bit of woo woo. Like some of my
Hmm.
most impactful books were like The Power of Now. That one really helped, and The Four Agreements, and just taking care of my health in general too, like what I eat and what I do with my body, basically. Those were
Yes,
huge.
because yes, like one of my business coaches says that body built our businesses. And I want to rephrase it and say body built our careers. So if you don't take care of your body, if you don't take care of your mental health, if you don't take care of your development, like then you're not going to be as successful at your career, no matter how much Swift UI, Swift, or other programming skills you have.
True, true. And we're gonna end it on that because that was inspiring. Well, where can the people find you? And thank you for coming on the show
People can,
again.
yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
People can find me on LinkedIn. It's Eugene Berezin. And I'm open to connections. Just send me a connection request. Send me DM. Always open. I'm on Twitter too. I'm on YouTube as well. But LinkedIn is my main hub, and then you can go from there.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of the iOS Dev Podcast. If you want to support the show, you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and even consider joining the Patreon.